Hello and welcome. You are watching News9. I am Krishna Kumar. Straight to the top story at this hour. Good news coming from the border. BSF or Border Security Force Jawan Purnam Kumar Shaw, who had been in the custody of Pakistan Rangers since the 23rd of April this year, has finally been handed over to India. The Jawan was handed over to India at the joint checkpost Atari in Amritsar. The handover was conducted peacefully and in accordance with established protocols. Pakistan Rangers had detained him after he accidentally crossed the international border in Punjab's Firozpur district. Now, on the 13th of May, the Indian Army launched Operation Keller in the forests of Shokhal Keller Shopian in Jammu and Kashmir, neutralizing 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists in a precise search and destroy mission. But this was not just another anti-terror operation. Why was Keller targeted? And why is Shopian becoming a recurring name in the fight against terror? News9 decodes the terror trail in Kashmir. How terrain, infiltration routes and local dynamics are turning the Pir Panjal region into a battleground.
On May the 13th, the Indian Army launched Operation Keller in Shokhal Keller of Shopian district. Acting on intel, the Rashtriya Rifles began a search and destroy operation, and 3 Lashkar terrorists were neutralized. But why Shokhal Keller? And why Shopian? Today, News9 Plus decodes the trail of terror in Shopian and why and how the Pir Panjal have become a new hotbed for terror. Shokhal Keller lies in the Keller block, just 12.5 kilometers from Shopian. Surrounded by the dense Sukru forest, this area is ideal for terrorist hideouts. Add in high populations and road access, Shopian becomes a safe zone for infiltrators. But how do terrorists get to Shopian? The answer lies over the mountains, the Pir Panjal. The Pir Panjal range forms a natural divide, but also a breach point. Terrorists infiltrate from Poonch and Rajouri, then take the old Mughal road to Shopian, bypassing direct scrutiny. And they use more than mountains. They exploit the weather, broken fencing, and local help. Here's how infiltration really works. India's border in Jammu and Kashmir is over 1,000 kilometers long. But 400 kilometers of fencing gets damaged annually by snow or landslides. Now these gaps create perfect windows for terrorists to slip through, undetected. Once inside, they use forest caves as hideouts, then build bases with help from local sympathizers in towns much like Shopian. But support on the ground is a double-edged sword. Here's how local dynamics play out. Well, yes, radicalized youth often join groups like the LET and TRF, but the vast majority are openly pro-India. In Operation Keller, civilian tip-offs help the army locate militants. So is Keller a part of a wider military shift? Let's compare it with another major op, Operation Sindoor. While Operation Sindoor focuses on terror camps abroad, Op Keller targets the cells inside India. Together they formed a 2-pronged strategy. Neutralize infrastructure abroad and operatives within. And these missions aren't isolated. They're part of a larger strategy to make militancy unsustainable. Ahead of Keller, the army released posters of 3 wanted terrorists linked to the Pahalgam attack, offering 20 lakh for solid intel. The crackdown is getting sharper, faster and more targeted. PM Modi recently said Operation Sindoor is an unbroken pledge for justice. His words signal the government's firm stand, both externally and within Kashmir.
Now, India's travel boycott of Turkey and Azerbaijan is gaining momentum after both countries backed Pakistan following India's recent anti-terror operation. Many travel companies have begun suspending bookings, while social media is flooded with calls to avoid visiting these nations. Turkey and Azerbaijan drew the ire of Indian users online after expressing support for Islamabad in the wake of the Indian Armed Forces' strikes on 9 terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir under Operation Sindoor on the 7th of May. Since then, a growing chorus of voices has called for a travel boycott, questioning Turkey and Azerbaijan's pro-Pakistan stance. Both countries publicly expressed solidarity with Pakistan after India's Operation Sindoor. Meanwhile, India withheld the social media account of TRT World, the ex-social media account of TRT World, a Turkish broadcaster, for promoting Pakistan propaganda amidst the recent India-Pakistan tensions. The Chief of the Defence Staff and the Tri-Services Chiefs briefed India's President Draupadi Murmu on how Operation Sindoor was planned and executed during May 7th to 10th with minimum collateral damage and the goals achieved as India's direct military response to the Pahalgam terror attack unfolded in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Now, it came a day after the Chief of Defence Staff, or CDS, and the Tri-Services Chiefs briefed veterans and members of think tanks on the operation launched in the early hours of the 7th of May, when India hit 9 terror camps inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, killing over 100 terrorists. BJP's 11-day-long Tiranga Yatra to honor the courage and sacrifice of India's armed forces, especially in the light of the successful Operation Sindoor, is underway across various parts of the country. The Yatra will continue until the 23rd of May, with events planned in multiple regions across the nation. Designed to instill a sense of national pride and unity, the Tiranga Yatra focuses on recognizing the valor of the Indian Army. The BJP aims to connect with citizens across communities and regions, reinforcing a message of patriotism, national solidarity, and respect for the tricolour. Party leaders have emphasized that while the Yatra is driven by a spirit of national pride, it will maintain a non-partisan tone. The campaign features large public gatherings, bike rallies, flag hoisting ceremonies, and awareness events, highlighting the success of Operation Sindoor, which the government has hailed as a landmark military achievement.
जम्मू कश्मीर के पहलगांव में पर्यटकों के साथ जिस प्रकार की बीभत्स और बर्बर घटना को पाकिस्तान परस्त आतंकवादियों ने अंजाम दिया था, पूरा देश और पूरी दुनिया ने उसकी निंदा की थी। आतंकवाद का पोषक पाकिस्तान और उसके आका इस पूरी घटना में मौन बने रहे। स्वाभाविक रूप से भारत के आन मान शान की रक्षा करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हमारी सरकार ने जब ये सारे के सारे प्रमाण देने के बाद भी पाकिस्तान अपनी हरकतों से बाज नहीं आया, तो अंततः ऑपरेशन सिंदूर का एक अभियान चलाया गया और आपने देखा होगा कि पहले दिन ही 100 से अधिक आतंकियों को और उनके परिवार से जुड़े हुए उन लोगों को जो प्रत्यक्ष रूप से इस पूरे आतंकी घटनाक्रम पर आतंकवाद के विष बेल को पालने पोषने में योगदान दे रहे थे, उनको जिस तरीके से उनके बीभत्स कृत्य की सजा दी गई, ये पूरे देश ने भी और पूरी दुनिया ने देखा है और भारत की सेना के बहादुर जवानों के पराक्रम और शौर्य का लोहा भी माना है।
आज इस तिरंगा शौर्य सम्मान यात्रा में आप सभी के साथ चलते हुए मैंने यह महसूस किया कि इस यात्रा में शामिल प्रत्येक व्यक्ति के भीतर एक अलग ही ऊर्जा, एक अलग ही उत्साह और एक नया उमंग दिखाई दे रहा है। आप सभी का जोश इस बात का प्रमाण है कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर की सफलता ने प्रत्येक भारतवासी का सर्व गर्व से ऊंचा कर दिया है।
US President Donald Trump reiterated his claim that the United States of America's administration played a key role in brokering the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Speaking at the US-Saudi Investment Forum in Saudi Arabia's capital Riyadh, Trump said that he offered trade incentives to both the countries to help ease tensions.
Both have very powerful leaders, very strong leaders, good leaders, smart leaders. And it all stopped. Hopefully it'll remain that way, but it all stopped. I was very proud of Marco Rubio and all of the people that worked so hard. Marco, stand up. What a great job you did on that. Thank you, J.D. Vance, Marco. The whole group worked with you, but it was a great job. And I think they're actually getting along. Maybe we can even get them together a little bit, Marco, where they go out and have a nice dinner together. Wouldn't that be nice? But we've come a long way, and it could be, millions of people could have died from that conflict that started off small and was getting bigger and bigger and bigger by the day.
Meanwhile, Trump also repeated claims about brokering a ceasefire understanding between India and Pakistan drew a sharp reaction from the Congress party that accused the Republican president of the US of not only hyphenating the two countries, but also equating Prime Minister Narendra Modi with his Pakistani counterpart Shehbaz Sharif. US President said again, and I quote, "I used trade to make a deal between them and they agreed." Not only is Donald Trump hyphenating India with Pakistan, he is comparing Prime Minister Modi with Shehbaz Sharif. Is this comparison acceptable to PMO India? That was a social media post of Pawan Khera, member of the Congress Party's Working Committee. Moving on, at a Miss World event in Hyderabad on Tuesday night, Congress Party leader and Rajya Sabha MP Renuka Chaudhary defended Osmania Biscuits and Karachi Bakery. She said, and I quote, "Our legends, Osmania Biscuits and Karachi Bakery, should be celebrated." The remark comes after an outlet of Karachi Bakery, one of India's most iconic confectionery brands, was vandalized in Hyderabad on Saturday, despite the company's repeated clarifications that it has no ties to Pakistan.
Our identities and our legends of Osmania Biscuits and Karachi Bakery should be celebrated, and that's my version.
The vandalism of Karachi Bakery is something that earns everyone's contempt. This Hindu bakery, established by a Sindhi family, who have been in Hyderabad for donkey's years and make delectable stuff, they are the targets, as is Mr. Vikram Mishri, as is the widow of the naval officer who was shot dead at point blank range. This is your courage and strength, that you will go and target and attack people, cause public loss? Who are you people? If you are so brave and you feel so strongly about the name of a bakery, pick up your lut, put on your khaki shorts and go and fight at the borders. Go fight where our soldiers are dying to protect people like you. Are they giving up their lives so that you can do such vandalism in Hyderabad? It's not acceptable. The Chief Minister of the state will not allow this. Be assured.
Now there's a new face guiding Canada's foreign policy. Indian origin politician Anita Anand has been sworn in as the country's new Minister of Foreign Affairs following a cabinet reshuffle by Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney. Anand replaces Melanie Jolie, who has now moved to the Ministry of Industry. Carney's 28-member cabinet aims to signal a clear departure from the Justin Trudeau era, prioritizing diversity, competence and a fresh outlook. But who exactly is Anita Anand? Anand is no stranger to high office. The 58-year-old Liberal MP has handled key portfolios from defense to public procurement and even transport and treasury. She was central to Canada's COVID response, managing vaccine supplies as procurement minister. A first-generation Canadian, Anita Anand was born in Nova Scotia to doctor parents who emigrated from Punjab and Tamil Nadu. She studied at Oxford and Dalhousie and built a respected legal and academic career before entering politics in the year 2019. Anita Anand is married to lawyer John Knowlton and they have 4 children. She created history then as the first Hindu to enter Canada's federal cabinet, taking her oath on the Bhagavad Gita, a tradition she continued this time too. Anita Anand represents Oakville East in the House of Commons of Canada and is considered one of Prime Minister Carney's most trusted aides. Notably, she had initially planned to sit out the 2025 elections but returned to politics at Carney's personal request. Anita Anand and Carney now face their toughest brief yet, rebuilding strained Canada-US ties, healing the relationship with India, and navigating an evolving global order. Now, Justice B.R. Gavai was sworn in as the 52nd Chief Justice of India. India's President Draupadi Murmu administered the oath of office to Justice B.R. Gavai at a ceremony held in Rashtrapati Bhavan. Justice Gavai, who is the first Buddhist Chief Justice of India, has succeeded Justice Sanjeev Khanna, who retired as the CJI or Chief Justice of India on the 13th of May, and his term will end on the 23rd of November on attaining the age of 65 years. Justice Gavai will have a tenure of 6 months and he would demit office on the 23rd of November. The name of Justice Gavai was recommended by outgoing Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, on the 16th of April to the central government as per laid down procedure. Justice Gavai, who was born on the 24th of November 1960 at Amaravati, was appointed as an additional judge of the Bombay High Court in November 2003 and became a permanent judge in 2005. He was elevated to the Supreme Court in May 2019. Justice Gavai has been a part of several constitution benches in the Apex Court, which delivered path-breaking verdicts. In one of the verdicts by a bench headed by Justice Gavai, it laid down pan-India guidelines on the demolition of properties and said no property should be demolished without a prior show cause notice and that the affected person must be given 15 days to respond. The Union Cabinet today announced a number of new initiatives as part of its Semiconductor mission. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw spoke on the decisions made in a briefing just a short while back. Prominent among those decisions was the go-ahead to build a semiconductor unit in Jewar. This will be the 6th such unit to be built at a cost of over 3,700 crore rupees and will provide employment to nearly 2,000 people.
जो भारत का छठा सेमीकंडक्टर यूनिट बनेगा वो जेवर उत्तर प्रदेश में बन रहा है, उसको अप्रूव किया है। आप सब जानते हो कि अब तक 5 सेमीकंडक्टर के यूनिट्स इंडिया सेमीकंडक्टर मिशन के तहत अप्रूव होने के बाद में बहुत तेजी से उसमें कंस्ट्रक्शन चल रहा है उन 5 में, और एक का प्रोडक्शन इस वर्ष 2025 से स्टार्ट हो जाएगा। उसी कड़ी में एक और बहुत ही एडवांस्ड यूनिट है जो कि HCL आप जानते हैं, हिंदुस्तान कंप्यूटर्स लिमिटेड, जो बहुत लंबे टाइम से भारत की एक हार्डवेयर में बड़ी कंपनी रही है। पीसी, लैपटॉप, कई चीज़ें इनकी मैन्युफैक्चरर कई वर्षों तक रही और आज भी है। वो और फॉक्सकॉन जो दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरर है, उन दोनों का जॉइंट वेंचर है ये। उन दोनों का जॉइंट वेंचर है। इस जॉइंट वेंचर में दिस जॉइंट वेंचर विल मैन्युफैक्चर डिस्प्ले ड्राइवर चिप्स, यानी कोई भी डिस्प्ले हो। फॉर एग्जांपल आपके सामने ये एक लैपटॉप है, लैपटॉप का डिस्प्ले यानी उसकी स्क्रीन है। उस स्क्रीन का जो ड्राइवर होता है, उस स्क्रीन को ड्राइव करने वाला, यानी उस स्क्रीन में क्या दिखेगा, किस पॉइंट पे क्या दिखेगा, कौन सा पिक्सल अप होना चाहिए, कौन सा पिक्सल डाउन होना चाहिए, किसमें कितनी इंटेंसिटी होनी चाहिए, उसके लिए एक ड्राइवर यूनिट होता है पीछे। तो डिस्प्ले को ड्राइव करने वाला जो यूनिट होता है उसको डिस्प्ले ड्राइवर बोलते हैं। तो डिस्प्ले ड्राइवर की चिप्स इस प्लांट में बनेगी और ये देश की रिक्वायरमेंट भी बहुत बड़ी है, क्योंकि देश में इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जिस तेजी के साथ बढ़ी है अभी पिछले 10 वर्षों में 5 गुने से ज़्यादा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हुई है, उसके चलते डिस्प्ले की डिमांड भी बढ़ती जा रही है। तो डिस्प्ले का एक कोर फंक्शन होता है डिस्प्ले के ड्राइवर की चिप। So display driver chip is one of the key components in the entire display assembly. The display driver chip drives the display, makes sure that whatever has to be displayed is given in the right format to the display, so that then it can be displayed, it can be shown, it can be visualized. ये प्लांट लगेगा, इसमें 20,000 वेफर पर मंथ की कैपेसिटी होगी और जो चिप्स इससे बन के निकलेगी उसकी कैपेसिटी है 36 मिलियन चिप्स पर मंथ का इसका रहेगा। और अच्छा प्लांट है, बहुत ही एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी। इसमें वेफर लेवल पैकेजिंग का एक टेक्नोलॉजी होता है, वो इसमें लगेगा, विच मीन्स एंटायर वेफर के साथ सबस्ट्रेट को जोड़कर कंप्लीट उसकी एडवांस्ड पैकेजिंग का।
Now, while speaking to the media, the Union Minister also spoke of the significance of Operation Sindoor as an example of India's identity, the role of the army, and the success of decisive and strong leadership.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर एक बहुत ही भारत की एक अस्मिता, भारत के हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस का जो रोल रहा है और जो एक डिसाइसिव लीडरशिप रही है और एक जो नई डॉक्ट्रिन बनी है, उसका एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जाम्पल है। उसके ऊपर कई प्रेस ब्रीफिंग्स यहाँ पे हो चुकी है, मैं उसके डिटेल्स में नहीं जाऊंगा, लेकिन वाकई ये देश के लिए एक सराहनीय चीज़ है।
Now, the United States of America will cut the low-value de minimis tariff on China shipments, and that's according to an executive order from the White House, and it also mentioned further de-escalation of a potentially damaging trade war between the world's two largest economies, while media reports said that Beijing too would lift a ban on Chinese airlines taking new jets from American aircraft maker Boeing.
A day after news of the US-China agreement on trade, there were signs of further steps being taken. Speaking in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the agreement had created a mechanism to avoid escalation. He said the US did not want to see a general decoupling of the two countries' economies.
What we want is the US is going to decouple in strategic industries, which we saw during COVID. We had become woefully non-self-sufficient.
The new agreement set a 90-day pause under which most of the levies recently imposed would be drastically reduced. Among concrete steps, Washington said late Monday it would slash the levies imposed on so-called de minimis shipments, low-value packages that used to be duty-free. The US had hiked tariffs on the parcels to 120%, but will now bring them back down to 54%. That's likely to be a boost for online giants like Temu and Shein, which have built their rapid growth on the de minimis provision. However, a minimum flat fee of $100 will remain in place. In a further move, China has removed a ban on its airlines taking delivery of Boeing jets. That's according to Bloomberg News, which says the move follows the trade agreement. There was no comment on the report from Boeing or Beijing. Excitement over the trade deal initially lifted global stocks on Tuesday. But some of the optimism later waned, with equities in Shanghai closing broadly flat. Economists pointed out that the agreement still leaves average tariffs significantly higher than they were before the turmoil began.
And with that, it's a wrap here from my side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.